simplicity, humility, and warmth. In this sad hour, my thoughts are with his family, friends, and innumerable fans. Om Shanti. That's what the PM has, of course, said, viewers. So that's, and now, of course, I have my colleague Uday Pratap Singh joining me on the broadcast. Now, Uday, this is a huge loss for everybody, really. But for people like you and me who track the Indian film industry so closely, this is an absolute shock, but also for all of Dharmendra ji's fans across the country.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has led the entire nation in paying tributes to Dharmendra ji. We can see the first statement being put out by PM Modi on our screens there. Prime Minister Modi, of course, putting out his tribute to the veteran who, of course, is no more there. Prime Minister Modi, of course, commending Dharmendra ji for his decades of work and his contributions to the film industry, the versatility, of course, which he brought to his performances, but also adding there that the simplicity, the humility and the warmth that he showed to people is why he will always be remembered. And those three characteristics are what set Dharmendra ji apart. Prime Minister Modi also, of course, has had a special relationship and equation with Dharmendra ji and his family. Remember, Dharmendra ji's wife, Hema Malini, is a sitting BJP member of parliament. Dharmendra ji too had a tryst with Indian politics. He was BJP MP from the constituency of Bikaner in Rajasthan himself. So he had, of course, his innings in politics, but after those 5 years, he left his political career and he came back into films. Hema Malini, of course, Dharmendra ji's wife, continues to be a sitting MP. In fact, it's her third term. So Prime Minister Modi, of course, leading the nation in paying tributes to the Padma Bhushan awardee. That is, of course, one of the highest honors that India accords its greats, and Padma Bhushan was awarded to Dharmendra ji by the government of India. He's, of course, won numerous other awards, including the Lifetime Achievement Award by Filmfare and others. But yes, he leaves behind, of course, over 6 decades of work, starting out his career in 1960, and his last film, look at this irony, that it will be released 1 month, exactly 1 month after his passing away on the 25th of December. Also, in fact, this morning itself, the last look of that film had come to light, the film, of course, Ikkis, which shows how Dharmendra till his end, till you know, unfortunately, when he breathed his last, was still working, was still contributing to Indian cinema. The Indian cinema and the Indian cinematic industry that has made him into this icon that he is today. The icon that even the Prime Minister is remembering. He's not wrong when PM Modi says Dharmendra's passing is the end of an era. And that is what many are saying. The era of the He-Man, the era of the commercially viable actor. Let me tell you that nowadays, of course, Salman Khan and Sanjay Dutt, who are commended for their bodies, and both of them have also reached the crematorium as we speak. Both of them respected Dharmendra so much. It was because both of them had no hesitation in saying that they used to imitate him. Dharmendra was the first one to take off his shirt, to have a great body in Phool Aur Patthar in the 1960s. Also, who can forget Dharamveer, where again he had a great physique in the 70s. And you know, also the commercially viable tag was first given to Dharmendra. These days, an actor has 1 or 2 hit films in a year and they become a big star. Dharmendra, in his prime, had 8 or 9 films in 1 year. That kind of record, I think, will never be broken. More than 30 to 40 commercially hit films in his 300 film filmography. That is a huge fact. And he was one of the most bankable stars, a star who was very handsome, but also equally charismatic on screen as well, which is why, of course, the Prime Minister is saying this is the end of an era. Also, coming back to the warmth and humility, which is why, you know, the big superstars of Bollywood, the Khans, were the first to reach hospital in Breach Candy when Dharmendra ji was critical about 10 to 12 days ago. Amir Khan, Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan all went to hospital. Salman has often said that I am his third son. Shah Rukh and Amir also respected him a lot. Salim Khan, Salman's father, is also at the hospital as we speak. The Salim Javed Jodi also wrote so many iconic films and dialogues of Dharmendra ji, for which he will always be known. It is also, look at another irony, the 50th year this year of the release of Sholay. Sholay is celebrating the 50 years, but now the Jai Veeru Jodi is broken. One of them may be there at the crematorium, Amitabh Bachchan, but the other, unfortunately, will have his last rites today and will be no more in this world. But the legacy, of course, will live on.
all right, Uday. Now, of course, we have been telling our viewers about his iconic films and his iconic roles. We've been getting in reactions from various actors since morning. But would you like to take our viewers a little bit down the memory lane and talk a little bit about his well-known films and songs that he's so known for?
Absolutely, they will always be, of course, remembered. We were talking, of course, about Phool Aur Patthar and the films in the 1960s, but who can forget the films that came after that? Guddi, Anupama, Yadon Ki Baaraat, Chupke Chupke. These are all films that, continue to live on even in this time. We were talking, of course, about Amitabh Bachchan and the Jai Veeru Jodi, but Amitabh Bachchan's wife, in fact, said that she actually fell in love with him the first moment she saw him. Interestingly, just last night I was watching an old episode of Coffee with Karan with Hema Malini ji and Jaya Bachchan ji. Just last night itself. Look at again one more irony. And Hema Malini, of course, was saying that she fell in love with Dharmendra when she first saw him at a premiere. I think Asman was the name of the film, she said, and she fell in love with him. And of course, later she went on to marry him. But Jaya Bachchan also said, she said, when I saw this man, he was so good looking. She said he was like a Greek god, and she said I also fell in love with him. Of course, she did a film called Guddi, which was about that relationship of adulation. And Guddi, of course, is another film for which Dharmendra is really appreciated for his acting prowess. Then, if we talk about, of course, more recently, the performances that Dharmendra gave in Life in a Metro has been, hailed so much. Maine Pyar Kiya To Darna Kya, of course, a film where he was reunited with Salman Khan, whom he loves off screen, on screen. Then, of course, Apne and Yamla Pagla Divana, because one saw the Deols on screen for the first time. The Deols who would be seen off screen were seen on screen for the first time in Apne, which is why it became such a huge hit. Also, Yamla Pagla Divana, and Yamla Pagla Divana, of course, then had a sequel as well. And everyone loved the comic timing of Dharmendra, which was seen once again with Sunny and Bobby. Now, if we talk about his role as a father, well, he had a very close relationship with his sons and, of course, his daughters as well. It was a very close-knit family, the Deols. And it's so fitting that Dharmendra got to see the success of Sunny and Bobby 2.0 in their careers. Sunny with Gadar 2 recently, and Bobby after Animal. For a father, it's so good that he got to see these moments, to see his sons once again bounce back after a brief lull and cement their place as some of the most bankable stars in the industry. Yes, it is not easy being a big star's son, but they managed, of course, to create and carve a niche for themselves. Also, of course, Tere Baaton Mein Aisa Ulja Jiya, released just last year. The year before that, Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani. We were seeing filmmaker Karan Johar condole the demise of Dharmendra ji, and of course praise his personality and persona. But Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani may have seen Dharmendra in a very limited screen time and role, but he shone in the scenes he was in. Who can forget those scenes with Jaya Bachchan, or more particularly with Shabana Azmi in the film? And his shairi, his singing those songs in the film, and that is why Ranveer Singh and Alia Bhatt said it was like an acting class seeing him perform on sets. So Dharmendra ji, no doubt, his work, his legacy will live on. Over 6 decades of contributions to the industry, and we can keep on recounting the many films. Pratigya, of course, Anupama. These are all films, of course, which Dharmendra shone in, and they will live on. As I said, the most commercially bankable star, the most handsome star, the most fit star, he will always be remembered as that.
And viewers, as it's normally said, they don't make actors like that anymore. They don't make men like that anymore. So it's a huge loss to the entire country, of course. And now I have Athavle Ramdas Bandhu, who's a member of the Rajya Sabha, has spoken. We're going to get you that bite.
हमारे बहुत बड़े हिंदी फिल्म के कलाकार थे, उन्होंने 300 से ज्यादा फिल्मों में काम किया था। नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार में सामाजिक न्याय राज्य मंत्री के नाते मैं भी आया था। मैंने भी उनको आदरांजलि अर्पित की है और एक बहुत बड़ा कलाकार था और उनको मैं आदरांजलि अर्पित करता हूँ।
Alright, I have my colleague Shahid Ansari joining me with more details. Shahid, आप क्रेमेटोरियम पे मौजूद हैं जहां पे धर्मेंद्र जी के लास्ट राइट्स हो रहे हैं और क्या जानकारी दे सकते हैं?
जी देखिए, अभी यहाँ पे सभी लोगों का अभी भी तांता बंधा हुआ है और आपको मैं बता दूं कि यहाँ भीड़ अभी भी जो है कम नहीं हो रही है, बल्कि भीड़ बढ़ रही है। मैं आपको दिखाना चाहूँगा कि इस तरफ आप देखकर अंदाज़ा लगाइए कि जो भीड़ है, और उसके बाद मुंबई पुलिस की एक बड़ी टुकड़ी यहाँ तैनात है, क्योंकि भीड़ को तितिर बितिर करने के लिए, ताकि भीड़ यहाँ ज़्यादा जमा ना हो, जिससे लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को लेकर कोई खतरा पैदा हो। आपको मैं बताऊँ, सबसे ज़्यादा मीडिया से ज़्यादा जो है जो लोग हैं उनके मिलने मिलाने जो देखने के लिए जो धर्मेंद्र के जो प्रशंसक हैं, वो जो है बड़ी तादाद में उन पर जो है उमड़ पड़ रहे हैं उनको मिलने के लिए। अब तक की बात करें तो आमिर खान, सलमान खान, शाहरुख खान, अमिताभ बच्चन, ये सभी लोग यहाँ आए हैं। आपको मैं बताऊं कि धर्मेंद्र को जो है 12 नवंबर को ही अस्पताल से लेकर उनके परिवार के लोग घर लौटे थे। 31 अक्टूबर को मुंबई के ब्रिज कैंडी अस्पताल में भर्ती कराया गया था, लेकिन 12 नवंबर की सुबह करीब 7:30 बजे उन्हें डिस्चार्ज कर दिया गया। और डिस्चार्ज की वजह ये रही कि घर वालों की रजामंदी ये थी कि उनकी तबीयत बेहतर है और डॉक्टरों ने घर वालों की ये कहा है कि वो घर में डॉक्टरों की मौजूदगी हमेशा रखें और ज़्यादा कुछ तबीयत ख़राब हो तो हॉस्पिटल लेके आएँ। उसके बाद घर पर ही उनका इलाज चल रहा था। उनका जन्म जो है आपको बताएं 28 दिसंबर 1935 को पंजाब के सानेवाला गांव में हुआ था, और डॉक्टर ने यह भी कहा था ब्रिज कैंडी हॉस्पिटल के कि इस बार वो जो है अपना बर्थडे मनाएंगे। हालांकि 65 साल के कैरियर में 300 से ज़्यादा फिल्मों में उन्होंने काम किया। हिंदी सिनेमा में सबसे ज़्यादा हिट फिल्मों का रिकॉर्ड वो रखते हैं। और धर्मेंद्र 1960 में दिल भी तेरा हम भी तेरे से डेब्यू किया और 1960 के दशक में पॉपुलर हो गए। उनका आई मिलन की बोला, फूल और पत्थर और आए दिन बाहर के, उन्हें इस दशक में रातों रात जो है पॉपुलरिटी दिलाई। वहीं उन्हें जो है हीमैन का दर्जा दिया गया, जो आज भी कायम है। उनकी फिल्में शोले से लेकर यमला, पगला, दीवाना तक सभी फिल्में फैंस के फेवरेट रही हैं। धर्मेंद्र ने शोले, धर्मवीर, चुपके चुपके, मेरा गांव मेरा देश, ड्रीम गर्ल जैसी कई यादगार फिल्में भी दी है। हाल ही में वो शाहिद कपूर, कीर्ति सेनन की फिल्म तेरी बातों में ऐसे उलझा जिया में नजर आए। अब वो जल्द ही जो है उनकी जो है और भी फिल्में, ये भी था कि जब वो बीमार हुए तो उस दौरान तक भी जो है उनका नाता फिल्मों से जुड़ा रहा। लेकिन अफसोस इस बात का रहा है कि वो उन्होंने आज आखिरी सांस ली। हालांकि जो उनके फैंस, उनके दर्शक, ये सभी लोग जो है इस बात को लेकर आज भी सुबह से ही दुआओं का सिलसिला चल रहा था। जो दवा तो चल ही रही थी, डॉक्टर ने भी ये बात कही थी ब्रिज कैंडी हॉस्पिटल के कि दवा तो हम कर ही रहे हैं, लेकिन दवाओं के साथ जो है दुआओं का सिलसिला भी जो है जारी रखें। उनको दुआओं की भी सख्त ज़रूरत है। परिवार के लोगों ने भी जो है लोगों से अपील की थी पिछली बार जब वो बीमार हुए थे कि आप सभी की दुआओं की उन्हें सख्त ज़रूरत है। जो उनके चाहने वाले थे, जो उनके फैंस थे, सब जो है बड़ी बेचैन थे उनके लिए। एक बोलते हैं ना कि एक ऐसा अदाकार जो है, एक ऐसा एक्टर जो लोगों के दिलों पर राज करता था। धर्मेंद्र उन एक्टर में शुमार, धर्मेंद्र का जो है उन एक्टर में होता था। आप देखिए कि वो हमेशा से फिल्मों से तो जुड़े रहे, सोशल साइट्स पर जुड़े रहे, हमेशा से उनकी आखिरी ज़िंदगी जो रही है फार्म हाउस पर ज़्यादा गुजारते थे। फार्म हाउस पर वो ऑर्गेनिक खेती की हमेशा बात करते नजर आते थे। अक्सर के वो लोगों को खाने पीने का सलाह मशवरा भी देते थे।
शायद बने रहिए हमारे साथ। ये ब्रेकिंग न्यूज़ दर्शकों को देखे मैं आपके पास लौट के आऊँगी। नाउ यूनियन मिनिस्टर नितिन